This is the Sunny Side Up podcast.
Join me in the sunshine.
Hey, it's episode 37 of Sunny Side Up. It's Alan once again by myself because, the COVID-19 virus has the family separated a little bit. We're not self-isolated like that or self-quarantined, but we're just being careful. So for one more week, you got me solo. After this, Brandon and Angel should be back on the show. They may do that from their apartment next week. We'll see what happens. I'm on my back porch. I decided for this episode to get out of the Sunny Side Up studio and sit on the back porch as we're having a really, really pretty spring day in Oklahoma. You're going to hear people giggling in the background. There's a guy running his lawnmower in the background right now. A few jets may fly over, but the sun's shining. Here in Oklahoma, it's about 82 degrees as I record the Sunny Side Up show this week. And I thought this is the perfect day to share a whole bunch of good news. Everybody's talking about C19, COVID-19. Is it coronavirus? It's like 15 different names, and they've mutated the names in the last week several times too, so we'll see. But a lot of people worldwide doing a lot of good things, and I gathered up some stories for this week's show just to share with you, and I actually had to limit the amount of stories that I'm going to share with you today because there's just so many. No matter where you look, people are being kind to each other. That's the first thing with Sunny Side Up, and we love sharing stories about people being nice to each other. By the way, you can follow us on Sunny Side Up Facebook, Instagram. You can look for the Sunny Side Up podcasts on all the podcast platforms, as well as follow the video on the YouTube channel. This week it's going to be solo, but it'll be fun. So people and small businesses delivering groceries to their elderly neighbors in self-isolation, kids caring for the homeless. Social media users are setting up their cameras in groups and performing with and for each other to share helpful information. People sharing their toilet paper with community members. Even more stories of kindness and compassion being reported from around the world every day. So remember to keep your chin up. Look for the good stories out there and stop looking for the bad stuff that's just rampant on social media. There's literally as many good stories out there as there is bad stories if you'll just simply take a look at them, all right? Case in point. Story number 2. From individuals to countries to world governments, everybody's sharing their face masks right now to help dispel the spread of the coronavirus. There's a French fashion designer that's creating her own face masks and giving those out for free. In North Carolina, a textile manufacturing plant has geared up to start making 10 million masks a year. I should say a week. A number of international fashion companies have also redirected their manufacturing teams producing face masks as well. Multiple businesses and schools have donated their recently rediscovered face mask treasure troves to hospitals in need. So schools are doing it. Facebook and Apple have donated millions of masks and medical supplies to U.S. healthcare facilities. Chinese companies have passed on their own stashes of face masks to Europe and other countries impacted by the virus. Taiwan reportedly is donating 100,000 masks to the United States alone. And the cool part is even the medical TV shows have donated their medical supply props to North American hospitals in need. So it's an interesting and cool time. My dog's barking in the background too. If you hear her, that's Cherry carrying on with the neighbors working on their air conditioning, I think. 3D printing enthusiasts, this is a cool story. All over the world are voluntarily making free biodegradable protective plastic face masks for healthcare workers. And it's all thanks to a small business in upstate New York. Isaac Budman and Stephanie Keefe are the masterminds behind Budman Industries, a company that designs and sells custom 3D printers. Now, since the Dynamic Duos project has been featured across all national news outlets, people found out about them. They've recruited the help of local teachers to produce the masks in classrooms across the school district. Budman Industries also has published the templates and assembly instructions for everybody to make the masks on their own 3D printer. You can go to their website. It is Budman Industries, Budman Industries. If you've got a 3D printer, there's a chance that there's a local health facility near you that needs those face masks as well. There's also jets flying over, by the way, here in the backyard today. I decided to come outside, and so did everybody else at the same time. We're all isolated because we're in our own yard, so I guess that's okay, right? Celebrities and businesses have contributed millions toward feeding and caring for at-risk people. Millions of dollars are being donated to novel coronavirus research. Why do we have such a hard name? And charities feeding families amidst the shutdowns. It's hard to quantify just how many resources are being contributed, but suffice it to say that it's a lot. In fact, there's a quick list of celebrities giving back to their communities that is online, and it's dozens and dozens and dozens. The NBA, a lot of the players have stepped up. They've begun paying the staffs of their stadiums and gymnasiums where they play. They're actually the ones that are taking care of the staff that have been taking care of them all the time. Tons and tons of examples of celebrities just being a part of it as well. You want to come up here? Come on, my dog. Cherry decided to come for a visit for a while. We'll see how long she stays with us. Yeah, you get bored real easy, don't you? Kisses? Okay. She doesn't have the virus. It's okay. As homeowners around the world are being ordered to self-isolate amidst the COVID-19 outbreaks, legislators are making sure that society's most vulnerable people are offered the same protection. Homeless people across North America and Europe are being offered shelter in everything from unused hotel rooms to designated self-isolation centers. In London, Mayor Sadiq Khan booked 300 hotel rooms at a discounted rate to house the city's rough sleepers for the next 12 weeks. Very cool. The mayor's legislative team plans to continue working with the International Hotels Group to facilitate additional discount bookings should the crisis develop further during the coming months. Similar measures have been implemented in California as Governor Gavin Newsom's legislative team reportedly secured about 4,000 hotels statewide, with the hopes that the initiative could help lead to permanent housing for homeless people after the pandemic is over with. Back in Europe, the Paris government has reportedly opened 2 separate isolation centers for homeless people who've tested positive for the coronavirus but don't require hospitalization as the city enters into its lockdown. Another 80 sites have been designated as confirmed isolation spaces across the country, and yet another 2,800 facilities identified as potential additions to the nationwide housing network. Lots and lots and lots and lots of good news amid the chaos of the C-19 virus. Just saw the dog up here a minute ago. One of the statistics that's really, really cool this week is homeless pets. Because people are staying at home, taking care of their work and their families and everything at the same time, a lot of people who don't have kids have gotten lonely. They've contacted shelters and are hosting temporary pets faster than ever as animal shelters are finding new ways to arrange foster care for hundreds of pets at a time. Without the means to facilitate traditional adoptions, humane organizations have turned to social media asking for help in finding foster homes for the furry charges, and many of the shelters have received amazing outpourings of support from their local communities. I know the same thing's happening in our hometown here as well. By the way, the weather in Oklahoma in the springtime is so unpredictable. We've had weather that's been in the 30s. Weather right now is in the low 80s. It's supposed to be in the low 90s tomorrow, and then we'll probably see something goofy by the end of March. Probably see snowfall. It's just weird in the spring in Oklahoma. No tornadoes. Everything's sunny right now, so we'll keep our fingers crossed. As America's cities close up amidst outbreaks, pollution plummets. What happened in China has now begun to happen in the United States. We're now benefiting from the same environmental silver lining. As cities encourage self-isolation, the air pollution has plummeted. Over the course of the last few weeks, satellite imaging of the United States has revealed significant reduction in air pollution, particularly across California, Seattle, and in New York City. According to CNN, environmental scientists are estimating that the improvement in air quality, now get this, could collectively save as many as 75,000 people from dying prematurely. Just one of those things that's happening amidst the chaos. More than 100,000 people globally have recovered from the coronavirus. According to research from Johns Hopkins University, more than 100,000 COVID-19 patients have already made full recoveries from the infection, and that number may very well climb even higher as more and more potential treatments are tested around the world. If that's not enough, patients as old as 90 have survived the COVID-19 virus. As Chinese cities gradually reopen to the public now that they've gotten the virus under control, with less than 10 new infections reported each day, other countries are expected to experience similar recoveries during the coming months. Here in the United States, maybe a little bit longer, especially here in Oklahoma, where we're still, at least as I record this show, we're still behind the curve here in my hometown. We still don't have any COVID-19 cases in our county, for that matter. So I'm not complaining, just observing. We'll see what happens. There were two young siblings from Columbus, Ohio this last week that found out their 78-year-old neighbor, Helena Schlam, was self-isolating because of the COVID-19 scare. They knew that they wanted to do something special for her, so 9-year-old Tarantine and his 6-year-old sister Calliope made sure that Schlam was stocked up on her groceries. They took it upon themselves to host a spontaneous concert for the lady. On her front porch, Taryn and Calliope donned their nicest concert clothes before carrying their cellos over to her porch. For 30 minutes, the youngsters played everything from children's tunes to Bach suites, all while maintaining a safe distance from Schlam's front row seat, about 10 feet away. And the final story, this one's about Spidey, Spider-Man himself stepping up to the plate. Jake Johnson, the guy who voiced Spider-Man and Peter Parker in the new Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, offered to record his voice for families, personalized messages for children who may be having a hard time coping with the coronavirus quarantines. Earlier this week, Johnson published an Instagram post saying, since the quarantine, a lot of parents have messaged me saying they've been watching Spider-Verse with their children a lot. And so Jake has decided that one by one, he's going to answer those messages from parents. He said he hopes to get all of the messages done. He said if I miss one or two, it's not a personal thing, but it could go from tens to thousands real quick sometimes when people offer that. So here we are in the midst of this pandemic with tons of negative stories, and yet I just shared about 10 or 15 stories here today, and I literally gathered those stories up in about 5 minutes. And I just gathered around the web looking for good stories. You can do the same thing. Better yet, as much as I love for you listening to the podcast and watching us on YouTube, stay away from the negative stuff. Stay away from the hate speak, for a lack of a better term. All right. I saw one of the athletes, the Olympics essentially is toast along with every other sports event. One of the Olympic runners posted something. She said, to continue going forward, fix what you can fix. If it's fixable, fix it. If it's not, move on and keep living. I think that's some good advice. So, sunny side up, here to put a smile on your face. I hope I did today. I'm not going to promise you that Brandon and Angel will be back next week. It may be them by themselves from their homemade studio versus me. We'll see. But you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram. Look for Sunny Side Up. If you want to try to find this on your podcast, it should be found at Sunny Side Up with Alan Klepper. That's me. YouTube it. Look for it on all of the podcast platforms, and take care of yourself. If you want to get a holler at us, want to share a good story of your own for me that we would share on the podcast, you can. You can email me, sunnysideuppodcast@storiesandscoopsmedia.com. We always post the link where we can on the social media pages as well. Go out, have yourself a blessed week. Wash your hands, cover your mouth. You know the drill. We've got this thing down. We got people actually washing their hands. By this time next month, maybe we can get them to start using their blinkers when they turn. I'll see you later.